What did a kid in your school do to get expelled? Dude smuggled a wine bottle. How the teachers found out? Well, the brass knuckles he was carrying in the backpack broke the bottle and spilled wine in the middle of the classroom. This is why you only commit one crime at a time. I live in a ruralish Irish town and our school was built next to a massive wheat farm. One day a kid bought in a plastic bottle filled with petrol and matches. He hopped over the fence at lunchtime and set the field on fire. Destroyed the farmer's entire plot. Apparently it was about 500k worth of crops. He also served time. Was pretty wild. One girl I went to HS with stole some school letterhead and proceeded to make her own report cards all year. Super quiet girl. I had her pegged as the honor student type. I don't know if she got expelled, but I never saw her again. I had her pegged as the honor student type. So did her parents. He stole an autistic kid's backpack full of books, took a crap in it, zipped it shut, and shook it up. He then bragged about it to one of his friends, so when autistic kid had his freak out, it didn't take long for administration to figure out who done it. Okay, that's just mean. Very weird kid in my year at the time came into school with huge amounts of hairspray in his hair. The amount where your hair eventually sticks like gel but without actually using any. Guy that sat behind him in one of our classes happened to be one of the worst behaved kids in the school, and he proceeded to get out his lighter and light his hair on fire. It didn't go up like if it were oil, but it definitely stayed alight long enough to see him running out the door with his hair smoking. Both kids were gone after that. Threw a chair at our pregnant teacher in year 5, 9-10-year-old. I also went to his house to play because our mums were friends, and he beat me up so badly, kicking my stomach in until I puked in the car ride home, and my mum came running and screaming. I'm also a girl, so it's not like we were rowdy boys play fighting. Never seen that kid since. Some kid in my elementary school got expelled for dropping fireworks through mail slot in the school front door, blowing the glass out of it. Elementary school. One of the special ed kids kept escaping the school, allegedly through a bathroom window, would strip down and try to play in traffic in front of the building. Chad. A kid escaped school on a Gordon food service truck during recess. They found him hiding in the Uncrustable sandwich box while unloading the truck when they got back to their little warehouse. Uncrustables are life. In the canyons near our housing, there was lots of old World War II ordnance from when it was a proving ground. Lots of people collected the mostly harmless dummy ordnance. However, some kids found a mortar round and it blew up while they were playing catch with it. 2 of the 3 kids died, so the alarm went off to turn in whatever you had. They found some really impressive collections, so the fire department and army EOD came to our school to show us some examples of what we could come across. As we sat in the bleachers of the gym, this kid stands up holding what appeared to be a shiny aluminum softball and asked if it was anything. The EOD guys froze and we all had to evacuate. Turned out to be from a cluster bomb. Never seen that kid again. 2 kids were dealing drugs out of their lockers. One had a locker upstairs and the other's locker was downstairs. Everyone who bought drugs knew the combinations. People were told which locker had their merch, and when you had class on that floor you'd get a hall pass and stop by the locker. A teacher got suspicious of seeing multiple kids going to the same locker. I will never forget being in class and getting the lockdown announcement while drug dogs were brought in, and seeing one of the kids flying down the hallway toward his locker. Should have used gym lockers. Problem is it would restrict buyers by sex. But if you really did have a significant customer base in the other sex, you could use gym lockers for one sex and regular lockers for the other, and cut down on foot traffic to any individual locker. This dumbass broke into someone's house, stole their guns, then got busted trying to sell them to an undercover cop. He got expelled and arrested. My brother got expelled for mooning the teacher in the middle of class. I almost did too. For figuring out how to open the console on our locked down computers and running a command that made "I'm Rick James" B pop up on every screen in the school during standardized tests. Okay, your prank is hilarious though. I bet that at least some of the teachers thought so, too, even if they couldn't admit it. Kid in my sister's class called in a bomb threat to the school from the school cafeteria payphone. This was in 1999, so before everyone had cell phones. He was arrested and expelled. Kids in my high school did the same stupid crap around the same time, too. One kid came into the school and shot a bunch of students with a BB gun. He was a pretty troubled kid. Later on he ended up going to the same high school as me, did the same kind of stupid crap, dropped out in grade 11, and I didn't know what happened to him for many years. Recently though I found out he's gotten his act together by the sounds of it, owns his own construction company and dropped the drugs, seems to be doing alright. Unexpected ending. I am from the Midwest. This was the mid-90s. A middle schooler went bird hunting over the weekend. He still had shotgun shells in his coat jacket on Monday. No weapon, just the shells. When he got to school he realized the shells were there and immediately turned them into the principal. He was suspended from classes until the board made their decision and he was eventually expelled. Kid made an honest mistake, did the right thing to correct the mistake, and was punished to the maximum for it. This has to be the stupidest reason. Just shows that the schools do not value honesty as much as they say they do. He would poop in a bag and stick it in somebody's backpack. He did this twice. First time he got suspended and a warning. Second time he got expelled. This was in 9th grade. That's some crazy crap, man. Be funny if they were his bullies though. He stole a butcher knife from the cafeteria kitchen and attacked a teacher with it. They tried to subdue him. This is the era before school resource officers' school shootings, and someone pulled the fire alarm. We all evacuated the building. In the ensuing scuffle with the principal, he dropped the butcher knife but grabbed all the plastic knives and forks from the cafeteria. He ran outside to where we were standing and threw them at us. Since they were cheap plastic, nobody got hurt. He was eventually tackled by the gym teacher and principal, then carted away in an ambulance. The kid never came back to school. The school also decided that banning plastic knives and forks would prevent this incident from happening again, so they replaced all plastic silverware with sporks, which is the real tragedy. The kid did get the mental help he needed and has gone on to be a productive member of society. A kid in my primary school who was a bully ended up getting expelled because he threatened to kill my older brother with a plastic knife. After 9/11 my school had a huge memorial and planted a remembrance tree. Some kid pee on it and ripped it up the next day. Pee can't melt steel beams. He crushed a canister of pepper spray with pliers until it exploded. They evacuated the entire school and shut down that wing of the school for 3 days until the city and school district cleared it safe for use. If I recall correctly, it hospitalized one student for a few days and earned the guy some juvie time and hefty fines. That area of the school smelled like old fish and bleach for weeks afterwards. Released 500 crickets into our school cafeteria, then proceeded to sit back and watch the madness. Resource officer caught as many as he could and ended up putting in the perpetrator's car via an open window. He had the last laugh. Counter-Strike. Kids sprayed bear spray all over the boys' bathroom. It spread through the halls and more than 20-30 people got it in their eyes and mouth and had trouble breathing, including some of my best friends, who had to go home cause they couldn't breathe. He could fart at will by sucking air into his butthole and then letting it rip. He once tried it under the shower after PE. Well, it turns out that if you suck water with your butthole you end up shooting watery shit bombs. We were laughing our asses off to this crap cannon until one guy went to tell the teacher and he had to go and clean it up. Oof, this is a good one. One of the teachers in my high school was born without his right arm from elbow down. He was the new English teacher, pretty young, good looking and whatnot. We also had another new female teacher come in that year who was quite attractive. If you've ever heard of the movie Teeth, it's about this girl with teeth in her vagina that like eats things or whatever. Anyway, some kid photoshopped both of their faces onto the movie poster and made it say Mr. Didn't always have one arm. The picture got around quite fast, and I went to Catholic school and this was a big no-no. The kid was super smart too. What a shame. Absolute mad lad. Beat up a girl apparently. That was the last reason why someone got expelled. Before that I've only heard from 2 cases where someone was expelled. A bombing shooting threat and threatening to kill someone and themselves if the other person doesn't want to date them. He targeted Jewish kids in school by removing their yarmulkes and biting their heads. After the 5th victim, the assailant was expelled. I don't know why the first 4 went unnoticed. Lame guess. He had an F in art. We were supposed to come up with a creative story for the basic assessment test that we were taking. His story was about killing several teachers. When I was in 3rd grade, some kid got expelled for bringing knives to school for protection. He was a bit of a hothead. He never used them on anyone, but all the kids knew he had one on him at all times. When he got caught a few weeks into it, his parents were called in and apparently they were trying to justify the kid having the knives at school. Most kids never saw the kid after he went to the office that one day. I came back after a 2-week holiday. I'd missed the last day before we broke up for Christmas to discover that a person in my friendship group had been catfished for nudes by this guy in the year above, who had then posted them on social media. He took a hockey stick to the school library on the last day of term, destroyed his laptop and broke his jaw and collarbone. Got expelled pretty quick after that, but the kid who posted the photos got no repercussion, even though it was actual child pornography. I'd call a broken jaw and collarbone some pretty serious repercussions. Small private school. Kid sprinted and jump kicked another kid into a door, splitting his head open for some reason I can't even remember. He was gone pretty quick after that. Sparta. 1. Fire extinguisher battle. HS. 2. Fox urine in the ventilation. HS. 3. Stood up on desk, playing air guitar with pants and underwear at his ankles. Elementary. That 3rd kid must be a legend. He was special needs but got zero tolerance because he made a series of drawings about taking over the school with fart bombs. That's BS, man. Poor kid. He was an all-around bully that nobody liked and was always getting into trouble. Final straw was that he was caught accessing someone else's grades and was making fun of the person for said grades. At lunchtime, one kid managed to sneak inside the school library and made all the computers go on Pornhub. Shortly after that, they wore a white mask and took out a water gun, threatening to shoot the school if people don't bow down to him. I'd love to have seen that. When I was in high school, a kid sprayed pepper spray in the school ventilation system. It was kind of a big deal because the school doesn't have any windows that open. The school had to be evacuated and I think we got to leave a few hours early. I knew the guy. Typical trash. He eventually got hooked on drugs. No idea what he's doing anymore. He would call our middle school making bomb threats back to back and we often had to stay on the bus or evacuate to a nearby church until school hours were over. A couple of guys yelled, "The Germans are coming," and went under the table during German class while the air raid alarm was going off for testing. Bruh. My friend left his BB gun and pocket knife in his backpack on accident. The police did a random search of certain classrooms that day and his room was picked. Quite frankly, when I found out, I was not surprised that he was expelled. What I was surprised about was that he didn't get expelled for marijuana possession or setting off fireworks in the middle of the amphitheater. On the latter, I was disappointed. In high school, a gal decided to give her boyfriend a BJ behind the math building in the middle of the school day only to be discovered by a mentally handicapped student. Of course, only the girl was expelled for it. A kid got high on M and stole a bus. He did a few donuts in the parking lot then drove away, only to get it stuck in a ditch. So he walked back to the school to take a second bus to go pull the first bus out of the ditch. The police were waiting at the first bus when he got there. How'd he get away with the second bus? WTF? Well, technically this does not count, because they were never caught, even though the police was called in to investigate. But this is some next level crap. So we have classrooms called temporary classrooms. I don't know if you have them in other countries, but it's small separate classrooms that were made out of a dense type of drywall. So during our official test period they store all the tests in one classroom. So these tests have been marked, but not revised and have therefore not gone through admin yet. So Monday we come back at school and during assembly with the entire school, which we had every day, and our headmaster is P as frick. He is genuinely a nice guy, but at this moment he's bright red and shivering with anger. Apparently a student snuck into the school and put a fire hose through a cracked window and flooded the whole classroom. A teacher later told us that the tests were literally adrift in the water. The classrooms sustained a crap load of water damage as well, and, after no one came forward, the police started a vandalism investigation. All the appliances in the class were also ruined and the sum Some of the files of the teacher, to whom the class belonged, got damaged and she had to do everything over. They never found the culprits and used some of our assignment mark for the subjects, which tests got completely destroyed. Also, our disciplinary teacher lived in a house adjoined to the school. He has sheep. Every year a group of matric students carry on the tradition of painting the school's roof and painting his sheep and letting them onto the school grounds. Each year they get suspended for a week. A group of guys also put silicone into the key slots in all the doors. The silicone dried overnight and we weren't able to get into our classrooms. They had to remove the doors completely. We got the whole morning off and he got suspended for a while, but left a legend. In 10th grade, 16Y, someone set a wooden cupboard in our class on fire. The cupboard was burned down and that side of the class was black as heck. No one got caught and it was very mysterious. There were cigarette packets outside the window. The tube lights were removed and put under the desks. A kid and his friend egged the school from an airplane. It was crazy. The one guy's dad had a Cessna or something with a private strip in the middle of a field. One night they went to the egg farm next door, stole a bunch of eggs, then took off in the airplane in the middle of the night. Apparently they did manage to drop eggs around the school, but early in the morning the fog set in and they couldn't find their way back to the landing strip. They ended up flying very low around town, which post 9/11 freaked everybody out. One of the hotels was evacuated. Eventually they were arrested and expelled from school for it, but I think it took a while to figure out what happened. Aerial bombardment. This one kid activated the fire alarm 4 times this one day, and the school had to be evacuated said times. This other kid got access to his class's grade book. He stole the book and lit it on fire, I think. He got expelled. Some other guy destroyed every speaker in every classroom. Some other student kicked a ball in a teacher's face and broke her jaw on purpose. My school was fricked. Oh, this was me. I got expelled from my charter middle school for being a witch. I was really into astrology and some people who didn't like me accused me of having a curse list. It was a list of kids who wanted me to read their palms and do tarot card readings for them. My mom was peeved because she thought it was stupid that I was getting expelled on the word of 3 12-year-olds and on the basis of witchcraft. Bronx Zoo trip. So girl decided that she would not only decide to shoplift $100 worth of merch from the fit shop, but also kidnap a butterfly from the butterfly greenhouse in her backpack. She proceeded to kill the butterfly when she got home. She proceeded to kill the butterfly when she got home. Like, why though? If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.